Morning all, welcome back to the channel. See, we're having another go at the technical expertise that is seeing my face and also seeing the screen at the same time. We get a few minutes in and then you end up with a big dome of my head. I do apologise, I don't know what's up with the camera, but anyway, we are trying and there are some technical gremlins that are trying to sabotage us. So, what we're doing today, quick recap of the previous game week. We'll have a quick rewards video up later on. Just going to do that as a simple one on my phone. So unfortunately, I'm out later, and then we'll get into the lineup builders. So quite a good midweek game week. Tier 2 rare and under 23 rare pro. Really nice score there, 410. So strategy there, avoiding the actual under 21s tournaments has paid off there, so I'm really happy with that. Obviously some really nice scores there as well, so I think the lesson learned there is just obviously if you have the options then to focus on what you think are the best fixtures. Sometimes there's temptation to look at the under 21s and think that it's an under 21s tournament, but yeah, I mean it's a pretty good under 21s tournament this year, I would have said. All-Star Super Rare 20th, think that's a lock actually. I don't think there's any more cards left. So tier 5 super rare, which is always nice to pick up some options for the caps, etc. Under 23 limited, so this was one of the teams that we focused on. 101st at the moment. So yeah, Atabol a bit disappointing. Germany against Israel. Israel played pretty well, to be honest, but yeah, I thought he might have a good chance at a clean sheet. Jack Maher, really solid in a 1-0 defeat. That's a nice score, actually, a 1-0 defeat. Odegaard and Haaland, as I said in the previous video, not everybody's got the luxury of playing guys like Haaland, but Haaland did actually, as it turns out, do the highest score of any forward this game week, or so far anyway, until recording a video. So yeah, sometimes you've got to look at fixtures and see who you really fancy for those fixtures, and Odegaard actually was quite a reasonable price. Obviously, timing out of the under 23s, but compared to the price of some of the other under 21 type guys at the tournament, etc., he was actually not too bad a price. And a nice captain pick. And Szymanski was quite disappointing, although I never really expected Poland to get beat by Moldova. Also picking up a tier 4 rare in the under 23 rare. Quite a similar team. Doku, disappointing, starting on the bench in quite a weak game. Again, Odegaard captain was quite nice. Looks like I've sneaked a tier 4 in the cap 270 with a DNP from Big Starfelt. So thanks for your contribution there, Carol. Get yourself onto the beach with Jacinta. All-Star Rare, that might sneak a tier 5. And cap 240, again, this was a spotlight one. Or not spotlight, but one of the tournaments we focused on. So as I said, there's no chance that this wasn't actually making the cap. And yeah, didn't make the cap. So there we go. Pretty poor. Hani Mukhtar actually played pretty well. Loads of key passes, etc. Just never actually got that decisive. Fagner, rotten. Atabolu, pretty rotten. Kulusevski, rotten. Ruben Diaz tried his best. So there we go. So let's focus on the new game week now. As far as I can see so far, the camera is still working. Miracles do happen, guys. Quick overview of who I've picked so far for teams. So cap 240 super rare. Running the Nashville defensive stack here. I think Zimmerman's back. Harvey Elliott's a bit of a... I don't think he's going to start, so I'll probably need to reconsider that, to be honest. But that's a bit of a punt. Like to get a team in the cap 240, obviously, because $200 is really valuable, and quite a few hard games this week as well, which I'll come back to in a wee minute. All-Star Super Rare, again, not my strongest effort, but yeah, I've got some Super Rares I can use there. Under 23 focus, so under 23 Rare Pro, this is one I really like. Trubin's obviously joined the under 21s. So a hint as to who we might be picking for the under 23s, limited shortly. Lucas Piton, Vasco get beat 1-0 last night, but he still put up a 49, so that was pretty handy. Riku Puig's playing pretty well at the moment, considering Galaxy are not scoring many goals. He's putting in some good averages. Guiri, captain against Norway. I might have to reconsider that. He was a bit average against Italy, but he did start, obviously. And obviously, I think Norway, although they've got lots of talent, will be an easier fixture for France and Italy. And Rovella put in a pretty strong, solid performance against France, considering the opposition. Pretty good performance. All-Star Rare Pro, quite like this team for some obvious reasons. But there are some more difficult fixtures in here. So Cezinha away to Ulsan's probably the hardest, or is the hardest game of the season for him. But yeah, although we've got a big gallery, you don't have unlimited choice in these more restricted game weeks. Carles Gil captain, well, Carles Gil, isn't it? So what you do with him is you pick him and then you just press captain. That's the strategy with Carles. And Eduardo's been excellent. Obviously, Marinos are playing again away at Sanfrecce, and that's a difficult fixture. I think Sanfrecce are good, but he has been putting up some really good scores, so we're going to go with that. Champion Asia Rare Pros kind of chucked in a bit. All-Star Rare, again, that looks pretty strong. Similar sort of theory here. Rodrigo Reis puts up some good performances at times. Tolkien, I think he might actually play against Jamaica rather than against Atlanta. Yunbek Graham has been excellent this season. Cezinha again, and Big Lorenzo. Obviously, quite a tough away game against the Revs, but perfectly capable of putting up a good score against anybody, really. Might actually switch captain to Yunbek Graham after I've checked, seen who's likely to play, etc. But yeah, and then just a quick flick through other selections just now. I'm not going to bother going through all of them, but under 23 wise, Bart Verbruggen was excellent the first round. Sergio Gomez, one I've just picked up, so his defender card from Anderlecht was up for 150 and a wee balance. So yeah, I decided just to go with that. I think that's a great card. Obviously, he's not playing for Man City, so his price is down a bit at the moment. But yeah, that's one you're just going to use for a good amount of time. So I think there was some limited cards up for about 15 quid or something as well. So that's pretty good. Atsuki Ito, he's timing out soon, but really solid player. Home game. Frantali obviously are decent, but they're not as good as they were. Danilo Saikan, yeah, he scored the last game, so another sort of good product to the Shakhtar Academy, and starts for Ukraine under-21s, and then maybe taking a risk with the Cherki. Came on, played pretty well actually for France, so maybe he'll get a chance the next game, but yeah, he doesn't really need to start to do some damage, to be honest, so press the wrong button there. Back to incompetence. Right, so first and foremost, I think we'll go for the under-23s again. People seem to be quite liking these selections, and obviously it's on theme just now with the under-21s running. First thing to point out is, again, and obviously everybody will defend SORARE, maybe including me, and say, oh, it's Opta, and yeah, all that type of stuff. But yeah, Trubin is shown as a game, but doesn't show up under a game. So I really wish they would just get that stuff sorted. But I'll shut up now and I'll select him. So yeah, Trubin, obviously I've held this card for a good while and I've got 16%. That's because I have a Shakhtar collection as well. So obviously in a really sort of nice position there, nice patient XP build up, and also a really nice percentage bonus, given I've been a maniac and bought all his teammates as well. Defender-wise, obviously it'll be a more difficult selection. And I'll come back to maybe going over the goalies when we look at the caps. But yeah, not huge amounts of options here. Obviously, Jack Maher's been playing well. Interestingly, Hugo CK came on in the last game, took Patry off at half-time. I thought he played pretty poor. So I think I might just risk CK here. He's such a high peak scorer and such a good player. And obviously, Georgia were pretty good in the first game, but you would think that Belgium have a good chance of beating them, and they need to win as well. Obviously, after having the draw in the first game, I think they need to get some results on the board. If Georgia win, then they've qualified. So So yeah, midfield wise, not a lot of great options here. I think I'll go for Jacob Ramsey. Pretty impressed with the first game actually. Scored from memory and started. So I think that's a nice selection to go in there. Onto the forward line. So again, temptation's always there with Sherky, isn't it? It's always tempting. Pedro Neto, obviously, playing against Netherlands, so he's an option, I think. And looking down here, and we're seeing it's a lot more of a restricted game week here. A lot of these guys are young guys I've held for a while. Some decent news options here against Hurricane, so a bit further up, guys like Sordo, etc. Again, Saikan's a nice option against Romania, or go Bradley Barcola against Norway. I think provisional, at least I'll go for Barcola. Scored last game, good form. France are a strong team. I think that's a good selection. And I think I'll stick with a strategy of putting Ravella in, to be honest. So he puts up some nice base numbers, and him and Tonali seem quite dominant in there. If I was to just go out and buy somebody, Tonali would be an interesting shout. But I'm not sure about the move to Newcastle. Obviously, he's on set pieces and everything just now with Milan, so not relevant to Italy as far as I can see, obviously, at the moment. I'm not sure. Didn't watch first game, so I'm not sure who's been taking the set pieces. But I think that looks quite a strong team overall. Captain wise, that's where it gets interesting. I think I might go for Jacob Ramsey, actually. England were quite impressive in the first game, and I think they'll have enough for Israel, though obviously Israel hung on pretty well against Germany, but did save 2 penalties as well. So yeah, I think England will score a couple. So there we go. What am I doing as a Scotsman promoting England? Shut up. If you feel like giving me some stick for that, then put it in the comments. I don't mind. Right, on to the Cap 240 Limited. So again, this one's always an interest. Again, it is a tournament that I prioritise anyway, so don't mind picking this one first, to be honest. Let's just naturally want to pick. I think what we'll maybe do today is maybe have a wee look at the 220 as well. Having a scan through. So first thing I always do is just try and see who's a good affordable cap price here. Who's going to play that's down at a reasonably low level of cost. Now, is Atubolu still 0? He is. So I'm going to go for Atubolu. There's quite a few options obviously in here. Karnaseki for Italy against Switzerland's a reasonable fixture, but still cost of 48. Can't really turn down a chance at somebody having a 0. It's just the easiest obviously to beat, and hopefully Germany get their act together a wee bit. Again, this opens up an average of 60 for the rest of the cards, so we can go really strong in the rest of these selections and just stack it in a wee bit. So Kai Wagner, pretty poor last game, but home game really here, so and a known good scorer obviously with an average of 61. Having a look down here, and I'm not going down too far because we've got the luxury of the goalie with 0, so I'm going to fire Carlos-Gill in here. Why not? I get Carlos-Gill in. 73 average, absolute monster. Forward wise, we could either go Cezinha or we could go somebody a bit lower here. I think what I might do is pick somebody a bit more affordable and then leave the rest of the cap. So Cezinha is 66, but it's a hard away game, so to beat the cap in terms of that score is going to be quite difficult, really. So I think we'll look a wee bit further down. Saikan obviously is one we've picked for the other tournaments. I think I'm going to go him because that gives me a kind of unlimited pick for the last position. Yeah. And then that lets us pick who we want. So, let's look at the fixtures. Hanny's got a tough away game at Columbus. An interesting one. Hatanaka's been pretty good this season as well. Ewan Bitgram's got quite a soft home game against Gangwon. I think I'm going to go for Gram. It's an interesting one because obviously I could pick Cezinha, obviously I could pick Mukhtar. Both got quite hard away games. I think Gram might do the highest peak score or have the best chance of the highest peak score in terms of those. Let's see what it says on SORARE data. I don't know if it factors in here the fact that Atabolo's got a 0 cap, but let's see what it picks. Yep, it does. Kai Wagner, Atabolo, Mukhtar, Kim Young-gwon, and Savarino. Savarino's an interesting one. So I check on that because I think he was away, right? So the value of having these tools, guys. Play Sharper is free. SORARE data I absolutely love, but I know there are different tiers and things available, and I'm not an expert on what's available for each tier. So let's see what the script is for Salt Lake. Savarino is 50%. No, just stick with my original selection there. I think Ewan Bitgram, I'm pretty sure that he is about 80% to play. So let's double check. Suwon. Yep, 80%. That'll do me. Again, a wee tip here, guys. If you're not using Play Sharper, you can click this button. You'll receive a notification. Maybe not always the most use on desktop, but then click on here. It lets you know when the lineup has been updated. If you do that on mobile, it sends you a push notification. So if you've got a couple of wee stacks or whatever there, it lets you know when the lineup's been updated. So yeah, I'm pretty set in that. I think that looks strong. So as a final wee bonus one, we'll maybe have a look at Cap 220. I know not everybody has the luxury of playing the 240, etc. 270 wise, you should probably get some idea, some good selections for the 270 there anyway. Again, I'm going to be a bit boring here, but since I'm not using Atabolo in the other, and the under 23s, then he's the obvious choice here again. He's a bit high just now price wise, obviously, because the talk is he's going to play for Freiburg. He's playing the under 21s low cost cap. So if you're going to buy one of these at the moment, then obviously you've got to be aware that he may well either dip or you're buying him at quite a peaky point. We've got a nice average left here now, so we can kind of have a wee bit of freedom with selections, 55, but we can't go absolutely mental, obviously. Who do we fancy? Right, let's get some help from SORARE data again, see what they're suggesting. Love these wee features. If you're stuck with anything and you've got access to these, it's nice to be able to do that. Yeah. So Gazdag's a suggestion in there, but a good one for midfield. Let's see what we can build around them. Pretty good home game actually. So defender wise, Hatanaka's been really good this season, so I'm sort of drawn to him a wee bit. We could use one of the commons and go in with Jack Elliott, who I don't own any limited of. Let's see if we've got any other good defender options. Kim Young-gwon. Against the mighty Cezinha. I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, I've got a load of nonsense left by the looks of it. This is an interesting one, but he's a fullback, and obviously it's kind of boomer busting selection. So yeah, I'm going to go as strong as possible. Let's go Hatanaka. Forward. Again, Savarino would be a good pick, but 50% doesn't fill me with confidence. Dennis Boanga, that's a nice. Let's see what the story is for LA. Play against Vancouver, and they're a funny team. They've got quite a big difference between their home and their away forms. They're pretty strong at home, but they're not always that good away from home. In LA, you'd fancy to get on the score sheet at home. So, don't know if anybody's noticed here, but my camera has worked for the whole video here. I don't know how that has happened. I don't know why it's happening in other videos, but let's not highlight it too much in case you get my big dome on the screen again. Boanga 85%, yes, it's a yes. And then we've got 47 left, so easiest thing to do here is just to filter the points, 47, and see who's left, who's joining the gang. Fausto Vera, he's quite solid. Son Min Kyu, that's quite a good fixture against Guangzhou. That's Guangzhou, isn't it? Let's see, I don't know what the predictions are here, so let's see if he's likely to play, because they do rotate a bit and he doesn't always start, but he's a guy who can put up a good score, there's no doubt about that. Cho Sung Min Kyu. Yeah, I'm going to risk him. It's a 220. So yeah, there we go. Now that is a really strong team for a 220. I know not everyone will have these players available, but it does show you if you can pick out somebody like a Joe Bendick, if Andre Blake's away, who's got a 0, then it gives you a bit of freedom for the rest of the team. So there we go. That's us. I think that's all we're going to go through just now. Obviously later on, as we move the channel on, we'll maybe do some rare selections, a bit more live, etc. But want to make sure this is as relevant at the moment for people playing in. Obviously, most people will play limited. So hope everybody's enjoying the content. We'll have a quick rewards video up later. I'm out, so you'll not be seeing my face on it. So that might be a save. But things have worked this morning. Fingers crossed that we're bringing the channel into the 2023 bracket of technology. Take it easy, guys. Good luck with the upcoming game week.